You know this feeling. It is late, you are tired, you should sleep, but you are still scrolling. Bad news, outrage, something unsettling. You don't enjoy it, but you can't stop. One more headline, one more comment section, one more video that leaves you feeling worse than before. Your eyes are heavy, your chest feels tight, but your thumb keeps moving. You tell yourself you will stop after this one, but there's always another one. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is not entertainment, this is not staying informed, this is doom scrolling. And it is not laziness, it is not a lack of discipline, it is a loop your brain gets trapped in. And tonight we are going to understand why and how to break free. I'm Dinesh Kumar, author, podcaster, and lifelong learner. This is the DK Talks. What doom scrolling actually is. Let me define it simply. Doom scrolling is the compulsive consumption of negative content, even when it makes you feel worse, especially when you know you should stop. It is not just scrolling, it is scrolling through things that unsettle you. News cycles, conflict, tragedy, outrage. And the strange part is this: you are not enjoying it, you are not even really learning anything. You scroll looking for relief but find more tension, and somehow you keep going anyway. Here's the key distinction: regular scrolling is about seeking pleasure, a funny video, a nice photo, something light. Doom scrolling is different. It is seeking resolution, closure, an answer that makes everything make sense. But the answer never comes because the feed never ends. And you stay trapped, looking for peace in the last place you will ever find it. The neuroscience, why you can't stop. Let me explain what is actually happening in your brain. First, your threat detection system. Deep in your brain is a structure called the amygdala. Its job is to scan for danger to keep you alive. When you see something negative, conflict, tragedy, threat, your amygdala activates. It says, pay attention, this might matter. That was useful when threats were physical and immediate, a predator, a storm, a rival tribe. But now the threats are endless, they are global, they are on your screen, and your amygdala doesn't know the difference. It keeps scanning, keeps alerting, keeps telling you stay vigilant. Second, the uncertainty loop. Your brain hates incomplete information. It craves closure. When something feels unresolved, a crisis, a conflict, a question, your brain keeps searching. It keeps looking for the piece of information that will finally make sense of things. But here is the problem: the feed never ends. The story is never complete. There is always another angle, another update, another thread. So your brain keeps scrolling, not because it is lazy, but because it is desperate, trying to find closure in a system designed to never give it. Third, dopamine's role. Dopamine is not about pleasure, it is about anticipation. Every scroll is a small question. Maybe the next one will help. Maybe the next one will make sense. That uncertainty keeps you engaged. It is like checking your phone after you have sent an important message. Most of the time, there is nothing, but sometimes there is a reply, and that small possibility keeps you checking again and again. Fourth, the cortisol buildup. Every piece of negative content raises your stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline. Your body enters a low grade fight or flight state. You feel activated, anxious, on edge. But you can't run, you can't fight. You are just lying in bed scrolling. Your body is ready for action, but there is no action to take. So you stay stuck, wired but tired, alert but paralyzed. Here is the truth: your brain is trying to protect you, but the tool it is using is broken. Why it feels so hard to stop. Here is why you can't just put the phone down. Stopping feels like leaving something unfinished. Your nervous system resists. It says, what if you miss something important? What if things get worse and you don't know? But here is the illusion. Scrolling feels like staying informed. It feels productive. It feels responsible, but it is not information, it is activation. You are not learning, you are looping. Each headline adds tension, each scroll adds noise, and nothing actually resolves. You end this session more anxious than when you started, less clear, less calm, less capable of doing anything useful. That is not information, that is just stress disguised as awareness, the hidden cost. Let me tell you what doom scrolling actually steals. It steals your sleep. Late night scrolling keeps your nervous system activated. Your brain can't rest when it thinks there is danger. It steals your calm. Even after you stop, the residue stays. The images, the headlines, the tension. It steals your clarity. Your mind becomes clouded with noise. You can't think straight when you are filled with fear. It steals your presence. You are physically here but mentally elsewhere, replaying what you read, worrying about things you can't control. Maybe most importantly, it steals your hope. When all you consume is crisis, your brain starts to believe that crisis is all there is. Your worldview shifts, not because the world changed, but because your input changed. Here is something I want you to remember. The world is not as dark as your feed makes it seems, but your brain does not know the difference. It believes what you show it. If you keep showing it fear, it will keep feeling afraid. The personal layer, my experience. I want to be honest. I've been caught in this loop too. There were nights where I told myself I would just check the news for a few minutes. 2 hours later, I was still scrolling. Not enjoying it, not learning anything useful, just stuck. My chest was tight, my mind was racing, and I feel worse than when I started. But I could not stop. It felt like something important was always about to happen. Like if I just scrolled a little more, I would finally understand. But I never did. What helped me was not willpower, it was awareness. I started naming it. I am doom scrolling right now. That simple act, naming the loop, broke the spell just enough for me to put the phone down. Not every time, but enough. And slowly, I started creating friction. Phone in the another room, no screens after 8 p.m., intentional windows for checking updates. It did not fix everything overnight, but it gave me back some control. Breaking the loop, practical steps. Let me give you a simple framework. 6 things that help, not rigid rules, just gentle boundaries. 1. Name it when it is happening. Say it out loud if you have to. I'm doom scrolling. Awareness interrupts the loop. You can't stop what you don't see. 2. Set a physical boundary. Put your phone in another room after a certain hour. Charge it outside the bedroom. Create friction between you and the scroll. Autopilot needs easy success. Make it harder and the loop weakens. 3. Notice the body first. Before you try to stop, check in with yourself. Tight chest, shallow breathing, tension in your shoulders. Your body knows before the mind does. Use it as a signal. 4. Create an exit ritual. 1 praise. This is not helping me. 1 action. Close the app, put the phone face down. Make it consistent. Over time, it becomes automatic. 5. Replace the loop with something calm. Don't just stop scrolling, replace it with something that regulates you. A book, a few deep breaths, a short walk, a conversation with someone you love. Don't leave a void, fill it gently. 6. Limit news to intentional windows. You don't need to be uninformed, but you don't need to be constantly informed either. Check the news once or twice a day, intentionally, at a time you choose. Don't let it bleed into every spam moment. Contain it so it does not contaminate everything else. The deeper point, protecting your inner world. Let me zoom out for a moment. You can't control the world. You can't stop the crisis. You can't fix the headlines, but you can control what you let into your mind. Your attention shapes your experience. A mind full of fear sees a fearful world. A mind full of noise feels chaotic even in silence, but a protected mind stays grounded even in uncertainty, even in chaos. That is not ignorance, that is wisdom. Knowing what to let in, knowing when to look away, knowing that your peace matters, not because the world does not, but because you can't help the world from a place of constant anxiety. Here is what I want you to remember. Peace is not the absence of bad news. It is the presence of a mind that knows when to stop looking. Your brain is not broken. It is doing what it was designed to do, scan for threats. But the environment has changed. The threats are infinite now. The feed never ends. And your ancient brain is trying to protect you with tools that don't work here. That is not your fault, but what you do next is your choice. You don't have to consume every crisis. You don't have to carry every headline. You don't have to be available to every piece of bad news the algorithm wants to show you. You can stay informed and still protect your peace. Those two things are not opposites, they are a balance. And finding that balance might be one of the most important skills you will develop in this lifetime. Try one thing tonight. Put the phone away 1 hour before sleep. Name the loop next time it happens. Just say, I'm doom scrolling. Notice what changes. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who stays up too late scrolling through things that don't make them feel better. It might be the reminder they need. If you enjoy this conversation, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps the channel grow. And tell me in the comments what triggers your doom scrolling and what helps you stop. I read every single one. Take care. I will see you in the next one.